for our next segment for you. Something we like to call the serious table, where we sit right here, the most
At this serious table that we have.
that we could find. We looked at 1,000 tables before we realized the table we already had was actually the most serious table that we could possibly find.
Not necessarily the most serious, just the cheapest option since, like he said, we already owned it.
Oh, it's the cheapest and the most serious.
Well, it's a pretty nice table, though. It's definitely serious.
We're going to be upgrading to IKEA tables soon enough.
That's
shooting for
That's
that.
definitely a serious table if you've ever
Yes.
put an IKEA together.
It takes some commitment. So here at the serious table, we like to give a little bit of life perspective and life advice to help you along your way. Various things like relationship advice, advice on how to quit your job maybe, advice how to overcome your fears.
You didn't ask for it, but we're going to give it to you anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure at some point in your life you needed some of the advice that we will be offering you here today, and you can take from it what you will. Today we are talking about how to get out
Maybe
of
you forgot your
comfort
mother
zone.
or your father's phone number or your grandparents. You know, the
How
ones
do you
that you
remember
normally...
phone
Your
number?
priest. You forgot your priest's phone number
Yeah.
and where the address of the church was that you
have your
normally go.
priest's phone number.
Well, no, for
A
advice.
Catholic priest's phone number.
Well, you might want to lose that one depending on who you are, but
Always up for a good time.
if you needed some advice...
All right. So today we were talking about how to get out of your comfort zone. So when I say comfort zone, I mean that little box you put yourself in, where it's your safe zone. It's your area where you don't want to explore out of. You may be a little bit afraid to see what options you have out there. Maybe a little bit afraid of being turned down or of failing.
It's cozy.
Everyone's had that moment. But we're talking about how to get out of that, how to really see what life has available to you. And
Think
just
outside the box.
think outside of the box, the comfort box.
Yeah.
So in preface this, I have an article I'd like to read to you today, but I'd like to preface
Preface it.
it.
I don't know.
No, I don't think that's right.
I don't know.
We're going to...
We'll give you the whole rigmarole.
Yes, the rigmarole.
Yes.
We're going to give you a little bit of a short story before this.
Today's show is brought to you by the word rigmarole and the number 32. If you
And
didn't
not by the
already know.
dictionary, because I don't think we're using any of the words properly, but here's some
Probably
words,
not,
and
no.
we're going to throw them at you.
My grammar teacher is crying right now.
Oh, God. So, before we go into the whole how to get out of your comfort zone, a small story for you. When I was working my previous retail job, I was working in a hardware store, and a frequent customer of mine came in with her husband, and she always used to buy a lot of hardware and tools. And so one day I was like, hey, what exactly do you do? Because I don't know why you're buying all this stuff. And she goes, well, I own and run a radio station. And that didn't really answer my question of why exactly she bought a lot of hardware, but I mean,
She resold them on the black market.
Yeah, resold on the black market. I build black market radio stations.
She sold them back to China.
But either way, I asked her why she bought it. She said, I own a radio station. And I thought, well, hey, I'm an aspiring 18-year-old writer who writes plenty of live columns and video game columns for this website that no one reads. How about you let me intern for you?
That's a
So she goes, well, you know what? We are actually looking for some interns because we're looking to start some new morning shows.
We need a gopher.
We need to go for it. And so I was like, yeah, I'll bring you coffee. I'll jack you off between radio shows. Whatever you need me to do. I just want to work in a radio station.
Pretty sure they don't need fluffers around the radio station.
Well, you know they're not very popular anymore. That's another story. The fluffers are like out of business.
That's
like,
only in like California.
Viagra
I think.
took over for 'em.
Isn't it California where they do most of that now?
well,
I don't know.
Anyway, so she goes, well, yeah, we're looking for interns. I got this new morning show starting. So went in, we'll set up an interview. You're awesome. We'd love to have you on the show. Come and fill out some paperwork, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, hey, how about you write me an article, a short piece that you think would be best for our audience. This was a pop radio station, so it was a mostly expanded female audience, and it was classic pop music, so it was older female audience. So, I mean, that was an interesting crowd.
What are we talking
for
here?
me personally?
80s music? Mostly?
We're probably talking late 20s
Alanis
to like...
Morissette and
We're talking like 70s.
Sarah McLachlan
60s, 70s.
singing songs about hurting animals and all that and being in the arms of angels.
Was it Elton John? Yeah.
Elton John.
Elton John. But
He's a candle in the wind if I've ever seen one.
Anyway, so she said, write me this article for me, please. Real short article that you think would help people out for this new segment. idea you have. And so I said, well, sounds like a great idea. I'll go ahead and put together this piece. And I felt like something that touched on a lot of people's lives was getting out of the comfort zone. So I wrote this piece, and I'd like to read that to you today because I think it's a very poignant piece of advice.
I've read it. I cried. I
There's
expanded
tears,
my
there were
mind.
smiles.
I got angry. No.
So
I grew.
grew as a man.
I grew a little.
Today, I dare you to step out of your comfort zone, ladies and gentlemen. And when I say comfort, I'm not talking about the comfort of your favorite hoodie or pair of sweatpants. I'm talking about that box many of us wake up in every day of the week, where the walls are of off-white and the clock reads 9 to 5, and the calendar may as well be blank because we keep telling ourselves that there's just not enough time for anything new. And every time we tell ourselves that, the hopeful little kid in all of us sulks back to his room with his little piggy bank full of dreams. But today, I want you to stop him and ask him for that little piggy bank of his. And when he hands it to you cautiously, reassure him with a smile and tell him that it's time to cash it in. Because you see, sometimes we confuse comfort with camouflage, and we just want to blend into an easy schedule in a familiar town where everybody knows your name. But Cheers has been off the air for over a decade now, over 2 decades.
Wow, yeah.
And you owe it to yourself to make your dreams into a reality better than a TV show. Although I must warn you naysayers out there that are telling yourselves right now, hey, dreams are for people with money and options and no responsibilities, and to that I say, valid point.
I have none of those.
If you're a single parent with 2 kids and a dream to become a touring grunge musician in Seattle, I feel a need to inform you that the grunge scene is dead. But alternatively...
Much around the time that Cheers went off the air.
Yeah, we're perfect.
Yeah.
Children of the 90s. But alternatively, you might consider jazz or hip-hop or maybe even a hybrid mix of the two, which will probably sound terrible, but you won't know until you try it out. And that's the thing. Sometimes the dreams you have as a kid, no matter how crazy they are, can still be accomplished after real life has made them a little muddy. You just have to do a little bit of rearranging. Life is like an adorable, well-trained dog who we've taught not to poop inside the house, our little comfort zone. So instead it poops outside in the lawn, which some of us haven't mowed in a long time. For a brisk walk, well, skipped a lot. Some of us haven't mowed in a long time, so it's a little mess gets hidden amongst the grass. So that when we decide to go out of the box for a brisk walk, we get our shoes a little dirty, and while some know this feeling well and simply wipe it off on the welcome mat and keep it moving, others get a little dismayed with the idea of the setback and stay inside. I'm sorry to say it, but everyone poops and life has its ups and downs, but you should never let the uncertainty of life keep you from exploring yourself, finding new things, and taking advantage of exciting new opportunities. So I'll leave you with this today as you're hopefully heading down to cash in that piggy bank. Don't let life psych you out. There'll be setbacks and you might need to rearrange, but if you get too complacent and comfortable along the way to finding your dream, just because the path was getting a bit messy, you'll find that your quick breather in the comfort zone turns to an extended stay and a lot of regret. So, on that note, basically what I'm wanting to suggest to you guys is the only way to get out of your comfort zone is to just do it. You have to take a big step, which at first will seem...
Or dip a toe.
Dipping a toe, I think, is the...
Not enough?
Isn't enough.
You gotta jump in. You gotta splash.
You do. You have, life is about big splashes. And there are the little toe moments. But life is about taking those big steps. And I think the only way to get out of your comfort zone is to do it. I think art, in general, is a great way of being able to do that. Because whether it be physical art like painting or drawing or anything, or doing a YouTube video that
has a lot of crappy edits. Screw-ups and stutters.
And screw-ups and everything else.
Weird lighting.
Or going out on the street and being a street performer and playing guitar. Anything like that is a great way to expand yourself and see what your limitations are and to see what you can really go to. And that's the only way you can really do it, because there is a whole world of amazing things out there that are just waiting for you to explore them. And if you just stay in that little comfort zone in your perfect little job, your perfect little retail job with your simple relationship that you may or may not be happy with your one dog and your 2 kids and your nice little house, and you never ask yourself what else there is out there, you'll never know. So ask the questions, explore your options, and don't miss out. Don't miss out on what there is to